Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm starting probably the most exciting video that I've ever done, which is my reading vlog for House of Flame and Shadow. So it is currently January 28th, which is a Sunday, and 2 days from now on January 30th is when the book officially comes out. But I decided to do this intro clip now just so that I could get it out of the way and really focus on reading when that book comes out. But yeah, as everyone has been talking about, this is a major release from Sarah J Maas. It's the third book in the Crescent City series. I just read the last book, House of Sky and Breath, I guess almost like a month and a half ago at this point. And again, the ending is something that people have been talking about a lot. Also, this is gonna be a pretty spoiler filled vlog because I just have to talk about what's happening in the book, what happened in the previous book. So if you haven't read any of the series, just be aware I'll be spoiling all of the books from like the first book, second book, and whatever I'll be reading from the new book. So last book, of course, the ending was a bombshell from Miss Sarah J Maas, because what happened was that Bryce was in her world. She was in Lunathian, and she figures out like things about the world and how the Asteri, who are like these like high and mighty people that are kind of ruling over this world, are what they're really doing is that they're leeching off of basically everyone that's living there and people that die and their souls, and kind of feeding off of it. So she basically learns that they've been going to all these worlds, sucking these planets dry basically of all their souls, and then moving on to the next one, which is, I guess, a way to connect all the Sarah J Maas worlds, because we have come to know that the Throne of Glass world, Akatar, and Crescent City are all in like the same universe. So what we know now is that they're all connected, and somehow we think, or like we have come to know about the Asteri and what they could have possibly done to other planets in the universe, or what they have done, I guess. And now she also learns that in her current world, the hell, which is like this place that the Asteri have kind of taught them that it's like full of monsters, it's dark, like a dark place, like basically how we think of hell is in this world. But what she learns is that hell and the princes were actually trying to save the people of Lunathian and like this whole world from the Asteri, and the Asteri made them out to be villains because they were trying to help the people against them. So Bryce figures this out, and she opens a portal and she tries to go to hell so that she can talk to one of the princes about what she's learned and try to save her world from the Asteri. But what really happens is that she falls, and she thinks she's fallen into hell, but what really happens is that she is now in the Akatar world. So she lands, she sees literally the entire gang from the Akatar world, like Feyre, Rhys, Nesta, Azriel, who else is there? I'm not even remembering the names of everyone else, but like basically the whole gang is there. So she's like, but she still thinks it's hell. So she's like, oh, take me to the prince, I'm looking for Prince Adis or whatever, blah 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 blah. But then everyone, they speak a very like different and I guess older language, so she doesn't understand what they're saying. She can't communicate with them. But then Rhys comes out, and she's kind of, Bryce introduces herself, and then the last line of the book is that, "Hi Bryce, my name is Rhysand." So like, of course everyone's shocked, because one, I was shocked because Rhysand is like obviously like a character from another book, but also like the fact that that Sarah J Maas is like naming characters means that he's gonna play like somewhat of a role in the next book, because the way it happened in Throne of Glass was that she kind of like, she hinted at that Feyre and Rhysand, like Aelin saw Feyre and Rhysand while she was like hurtling through all the worlds, but it was just like a cameo and not really like an interaction. But this one, they're like fully interacting, and there's gonna be some like interaction between them in the next book, and I really don't know what that's gonna be. The thing is, I don't even know like timeline wise how this book is gonna fit in, or like how the timeline is going, because we know that, or I've gathered so far, that a Kingdom of Ash and a Court of Silver Flames, I guess, happen at similar times, because when Aelin is like hurling through the worlds and she sees Feyre and Rhysand, she notices that like there's a pregnant female next to Rhysand, which we like can kind of infer that it's pregnant Feyre. And I think she's pregnant in A Court of Silver Flames. So I guess those books match up timeline wise, but then I don't know like what part of the story or timeline that Bryce is in, but the whole gang, so I don't really know what's gonna happen there. I don't know if the other ACOTAR books that are gonna come out are gonna like include her in some way, hint at her. I don't know like how the worlds and the books are going to be written from now on, and if there's going to be like more crossovers in the future. But I just think the way that she connected all the worlds, it's like genius, and I was so mind blown, like not just with the ACOTAR thing but the whole Asteri thing, and like how they've been going around sucking off every planet dry and then moving on. I thought that was like so cool and amazing, and it was just such a shock too, because like ACOTAR obviously is a shock, but this one's like really connecting the worlds in like a logical, plot-driven way, which is really cool. So yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen with the next book, and I'm just so scared about what's gonna happen. I don't even know if this is the last book in the series. I've heard she's gonna write more Crescent City books, but I don't know yet if they've been announced or they're being written or they've been even like confirmed or anything. So is this the last book? Question mark. I don't know. It's been quite a journey with this series, and I'm so excited. I really hope my copy gets here in time because I pre-ordered it on Amazon a couple weeks ago. It's now arriving Tuesday, so I really hope that it arrives on time and that I can start reading it. I wish I could take off the whole week from my obligations, because if I was working, I feel like I'd want to take off like at least a day or something to read, but this time I have like school, I have classes, I have homework that I need to do that's like due on certain days of the week. So like I really wish that I could take the whole week off, but I can't. But I'm gonna be trying to read as much as I can. I'm waiting very impatiently for the day to come where the book has come out, which is just 2 days from now. And the thing is, like, even if this book comes out now, like she's been releasing books like way further apart, so it's probably going to be another like couple years before the next one comes out, which is going to be kind of agonizing if this one also ends on a cliffhanger. But yeah, I will be waiting for my book to come, and then I will be unboxing it, I guess, in front on camera when it comes out. So I have the book in my hands. Okay, I'm not gonna make the same mistake that I did last time with House of Sky and Breath, where I was glancing at the last page to see how many pages there were, and accidentally spoiled myself for the entire ending, basically. I'm not gonna be making that same mistake. Oh my god, but this book is finally in my hands. You guys don't know the way I spent the entire morning feverishly like refreshing my Amazon page when it said it was being delivered today, because I wanted to know like when it would be delivered. And I was just kept refreshing to see like how many stops away the truck was and everything, but it is finally in my hands. I am so excited for this. I'm not gonna look at anything. It looks very chunky because it is. The spine is gorgeous, the cover is gorgeous, and the end papers, I don't know if you can see this, but the end paper is also gorgeous. I will immediately start reading this book. I think I actually have a class in like an hour-ish, so I have to leave. I only get about 40 minutes of time, 40 to 45 minutes of time reading right now, but I'm gonna start getting into this book literally right as I finish this clip. I'm gonna open the book and I'm gonna start reading. And I'm in the middle of a book, but I don't care. I'm gonna put it down and I'm gonna start reading this book. This book is actually so beautiful, and I actually really love the spine and how dark it is, which might mean that this book is like getting darker because all the other ones have been red and blue, but this one is dark, which means that the series is getting darker. I don't know. But now I won't open, I don't know why I just opened a random page, but I will start reading this. I'll update you probably later today when I get a big chunk, not big chunk, but quite a bit of a chunk a little bit into it, because I'll be reading right now, and then as soon as class finishes and I come back, I'm gonna immediately start picking up where I left off, and then hopefully reading the rest of the night. I literally did most of my homework that's due like today/tomorrow yesterday, because I knew I wanted to spend most of today reading. So I'll be hopefully spending all night reading this. and hopefully getting a good chunk of the way through it. But yeah, I'm gonna start reading it and then I'll keep updating you on my like reactions. And again, everything is a spoiler, so just be cautious for that. Yeah. Hello everybody, it is the next day, January 31st, and yesterday I was able to get through 150 pages of House of Flame and Shadow. So far not much has happened. It's still slowly recapping what happened in like the previous books and everything, especially like toward the recapping sort of the end of the last book, because there was a lot going on. So all of the characters are still kind of in the same positions that we left them in the last book. So like Bryce is still in Prithian and she's trying to figure out what's like going on, what world is she in, how to really get back, and how to trying to get more information from like the people of the Night Court, the Inner Circle, about how they can defeat the Asiri back in Midgard, because they have been like exchanging like histories about their own worlds and trying to find connections between like their histories and everything. And then Hunt and Rune and everyone is like still kidnapped and they're being tortured. And then Therian is part of like the Viper Queen's little group of fighters. So he kind of defected from his like underwater, I forgot what's called, like kingdom or whatever, and the River Queen, and now he's part of the Viper Queen's like consort of fighters, and he's been fighting in the pits every day. And everyone there, like also like Declan, Flynn, and Ethan, and like the sprites and everyone are trying to figure out what happened to Bryce, because they have no idea. To them she just disappeared, and also like trying to save Hunt and Rune and everyone. And then also Ethan has been attending to Sigrid, who is like the alpha who is like in the tank by the astronomer, and he like kind of rescued her, and now she's kind of adapting to the new world. And since she hadn't been in the real world around real people in so long, she's like confused and learning to adapt to the real world. So yeah, not much has happened. It's like kind of the same that we left off with, I think, because like again we need a recap because so much happened and it's been 2 years. Like for me, I just read the book like last month because like that's when I read it, but a lot of people probably read it when it first came out, which was like like pretty much exactly 2 years ago. So I think it's good that she's recapping it, and just for me too, because I got a little bit of refresher. But now I'm hoping that it starts to pick up a little bit more with the actual plot of this book, and more like revelations and things happen. Like I'm still enjoying it, but a lot of this stuff I have already like read about pretty much in the other books. Is just kind of going into more of their predicaments that they're in right now, but I'm hoping there's some more movement in the plot and that we move forward. Also, I saw Sarah J Maas's post that she was basically saying how House of Flame and Shadow is out now, and that she hoped that everyone loves it, like, you know, the normal post that someone would make. But one of the comments I saw, I pretty much closed the app as soon as I saw it because I didn't want to get spoiled for anything, but it said that someone finished the book and their mind has exploded. So now I'm really scared about what this book has in store for me and what crazy things Sarah J Maas is gonna pull out of her ass. So it is Saturday, February 3rd, I think. Yes, it's February 3rd. I don't even remember the last time I updated. I don't even know if it was like yesterday or the day before or the day before that. But I have been reading and I do have updates on how I'm feeling about the book. So I am on page 472. So I think I've been kind of reading about like 100 pages a day. But today I want to read like a lot more. Anyways, so far, like since the last time I updated you, a lot has happened, but then also like nothing has happened. So plot wise, Bryce is like out of Prithian. She kind of she was underneath in all these caverns, and then eventually she sees this like hologram projection thing, I don't even know, and it basically like word vomits the entire history of what happens, and it's just like a long monologue from this one like hologram character who is, I think, one of the daughters of Thea, who was the original Fae who went from Prithian to Midgard, and she was kind of, her daughter Celine was kind of telling the story of what really happened, and Bryce wanted to know like how they kind of defeated the Asteri, but she didn't really find out that information. But she did end up going back out to Prythian, or not Prythian, Midgard, which was kind of anticlimactic. It was really weird because they were just talking. She was talking with Nesta and Asriel one second, and the next second she just like she's gone back to her world. And I was like, what just happened? And then once she's back, she lands in the Autumn King's office and he wants to hide her and everything. And then she eventually escapes his house, and now she's with Rune and Hunt and Baxian and Lydia and everyone, because Rune and Hunt and Baxian were being tortured in the Asteri's dungeons, but behind Lydia, which we find out has actually been working with the rebel groups in the last book, helped them escape. So now they're all out and they're on this like big boat, I guess, they were on this big boat called the Depth Charger, going to Avalon to speak with, I believe it was Morven, because Avalon has all these archives that have books, and Bryce wants to like go through these archives and see if she can find any information about how to defeat the Asteri. So a lot has happened because Hunt, Rune, and Baxian are all like, they've escaped and everyone, and Bryce has gone through the caverns and has also gotten back to her world, and she finds out that actually, like, because she has the horn in her back, and she finds out there's like a few other like made objects that exist, like the mask which Nesta wears, and then I think there's a harp and maybe something else that I'm forgetting. But she finds out that they're all related because I think they were all made by the cauldron. Anyways, so everyone is like back together, reunited, and that's kind of all that's happened. Like, yeah, a lot happened, but also like the plot hasn't really moved forward that much, because the only main thing was that Bryce found out about like the whole history of what happened with Prythian and how Midgard, like the people of Midgard came to be, and the whole history with Thea and everyone, and that was like the only major like reveal or revelation. And then other than that, she just went back, and then they were all like released from the dungeons, and they all kind of had a reunion, and that's pretty much what's happened so far. So not gonna lie, like I feel like this book is kind of going slowly. Like 472 pages is like about, it's more than halfway. Like I think it's just over halfway of this book, and I know this is Sarah J. Maas, so I know the last 200 pages are gonna be batshit crazy, and she's gonna like throw everything in our face at the same time. But I wish there was like a little bit more happening right now, because I feel like it's just a little bit slow, and the story is like kind of dragging out a little bit. I just want to get to like a more fast-paced plot, I guess. And also I know it's because they're spending a lot of time trying to figure out like how to defeat the Asteri, and they haven't figured that out yet. That's why they went through the archives and everything. So I know they're still trying to figure it out, but it's just like when a character in a fantasy series is trying to figure something out, this is what happened with Iron Flame too, because Violet was trying to figure out stuff by going through books and books, but then the book ended up being like pages and pages of her researching through books and archives as well, and then it was towards the end that the plot got super fast. So I feel like this is what's gonna happen here. I'm still enjoying it because obviously I love the characters, but so far this is probably one of my least favorites of the series. But yeah, since today's Saturday, I'm gonna try to read as much as I can before like school kind of got in the way a little bit, but I finally have time today to read this. I don't have any plans today. I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna read this. I was hoping that I would be able to finish it by today, because the way I've been having my schedule is I post a video every Sunday, or I have been posting a video every Sunday, so I wanted to get this done by tomorrow because today is Saturday, but I don't think this video is gonna be able to go up by tomorrow morning. It's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna try to read as much as I can today. Probably can't get through the rest of the books, but I will keep updating you based on what's happening. I'm sure there's gonna be more happening now that like we're kind of in the latter half of the book. So yeah, updates will come sometime later in the future. Did I just read a Throne of Glass reference? I am on page 692, so I'm approaching the end, kind of. I have like 150 pages left of this book, I think. I don't think I'll be able to finish tonight, but definitely my goal is to finish this book by tomorrow. And a lot has happened. So everyone has been coming up with a plan to try to defeat the Asteri. Bryce went to Nesta. She opened up the world again to Prythian, and she called Nesta, and she used the mask to kill the harpy, because the harpy, Bryce killed the harpy, but then they raised her back up kind of like alive but not really. She was like dead but also alive, and they tried to get her to kill Bryce again. But then Bryce used the mask, which can control death. Basically, it's death itself. And she used it to kill the harpy again. And her plan is to like raise all the fallen people and make like an army of like the dead to defeat the Asteri. Anyway, kind of a crazy plan. But then what I was talking about with the Throne of Glass thing, Ethan was talking to the Under King, and the Under King was talking about like where he came from, and Ethan, he says like something about how he's like from the similar to like Ethan's ancestors because he's a wolf. And then Ethan was like, you came from like the shifters world, and he said that they weren't called shifters. And then he talked about how Erd, who is like the goddess of fate in Midgard, was known as Word in like the old world. And I'm like, Word? That sounds awfully a lot like what happens in Throne of Glass world with like the word gates and the word marks and everything. So potential crossover. I swear to God, if any of the Throne of Glass characters appear in like the next 150 pages, I'm gonna lose my mind. But yeah, so far we're getting more connections between the worlds. So I have decided that I am finishing this book today. I'm on page 720, so I have just about like 100 pages, maybe a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna try to look. Okay, it seems like there's 835 pages, which is a little less than what's on Goodreads. So I have just about 115 pages left. So I'm deciding that I'm gonna finish it today. It's only like 11:30 right now, so I have like a lot of time. But yeah, the last 120 pages, we are just down to the wire now with like the main events, revelations, whatever that Serge Maas is gonna give to us and like throw at us. I'm like scared because I know that she's gonna do something twisted, sick and twisted at the end, and I'm not ready for it, but also I'm ready for it. I will keep updating if anything big happens. I'm probably gonna film myself reading probably the last 20-ish pages because I know like I feel like there's just something big is gonna happen towards the end, and I want to like catch my reaction for that. But yeah, a lot has happened. A couple like characters have already actually died, not like the main characters, but like the Autumn King has died, and now the Under King has also died. So like all the like the sectors that make up like Crescent City, like the sectors that make up like the entire city, now 2 of them have no leader, because the Autumn King was the leader of the 5 Roses, and then the Under King was leader of the Bone Quarter, so like that doesn't really exist anymore. And also now the Prime of the Wolves is now dead, because Ethan, like the Prime was giving Ethan the responsibility of the becoming Prime, and then Sabine, who was like challenging the old Prime, decided to kill him. But now Ethan is like Prime of the Wolves, which is cool. And he saw Connor, and then Connor gave up his life. He gave up his second light to be part of like this bullet that would give power like against the Asteri or something. So that was a really emotional moment, because it was like they were reuniting, and then he was like gone for good. I feel like Serge Maas could have made that scene way more emotional than it was, but I get also that there's a war happening, so Ethan kind of like was sad for a second, but then had to move on. Anyways, that's just random stuff from the book that I've read. But yeah, I'm really excited to finish this book today. I think I'm just ready to finish it because it's so long, and I feel like I've been reading it forever, even though it's only been like I guess 5 days by now. But I don't know, it just feels so long, because like I got to page 675 last night, and I was like, that already feels like such a long book. But then I was like, oh my god, I still have like 150-ish pages left. So I don't know, it's okay, we're gonna finish this today, it's gonna be great. And then yeah, I will keep you guys updated if anything like big happens. So they've started fighting the Asteri, and basically this whole thing has been happening. They've been figuring out that if you bring the Star Sword and the dagger that was in Prythian together, like it will be used, it created basically a place of nothingness where the plan was to keep the Asteri there. But now they've started like fighting the Asteri, and Bryce, like she went to one of the Asteri and she brought the Star Sword and the dagger together, and it basically created a black hole that like sucked everything around it, so the Asteri was like sucked into it and killed. But now that that's happened, if the ending is that like someone, like one of the main characters is sucked into this black hole, like why do I feel like that's what's gonna happen? And like they're gonna be gone forever. They're just gonna be sucked into. If that happens, I will sue Sarah J. Maas for emotional damage. Okay, so more connections to the Throne of Glass world. Lydia named her son Bran, but then now it's revealed that she named it Brannon, who used to be a fake king from an old world. But we know from Throne of Glass that Brannon is an old fake king from that world, so she's talking about the Throne of Glass world. Now there's 50 pages left, so what are the odds that, like, actually more like 60, but like what are the odds that someone from the Throne of Glass world shows up? I feel like it's low but not zero. When I said that someone would be sucked in, I did not think that it would be Bryce herself, but Bryce has been sucked in with the Asteri into this world. Is she dead? Is she alive? What's happening? Is she gone forever? Okay, she didn't die, but she went inside space, and basically she was trying to push them towards the black hole that was like in this void of space, and she almost got sucked in, but she didn't. And Hunt came and helped her and everyone, and all the Asteri are gone now, but now they brought Bryce back and she's dead. I have a feeling she's gonna be brought back to life or something, because I refuse to believe that Sarah J. Maas just killed off one of her main characters. But she's dead as of right now. Okay, I was right that Bryce is gonna come back to life. But it was because Jessica Roga decided to trade her life, because we find out that she's actually been alive since basically Midgard like came to be as it is now, like 15,000 years ago. So she's like trading her life for Bryce's. So she's basically gonna be gone now, which is kind of sad because I liked her as a character. Pages left, but the way the ending is going, it's giving like end of a series when like all the battles have happened and everyone's kind of just recuperating and recovering from like defeating all the bad guys. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of like tension happening right now, so now I'm like wondering if there's gonna be like a happy ending or like a distressing ending. So Bryce just gave over the Star Sword and the dagger over to Nesta in Prithian, and Nesta has the 8-pointed star tattooed on her, and then Bryce is like, that star is tattooed on you for a reason, to take the sword and try to figure it out. So now is that gonna be like a plot line for ACOTAR where Nesta's trying to figure out like the meaning of this 8-pointed star on her? Like, what's gonna happen with ACOTAR now? Like, is Bryce even gonna show up? Is like the history of what just happened here gonna show up in some way? Like, we're just gonna have to see. But like, I have all these questions now about how the books are gonna keep going, but I'm down to the last like 15-ish pages, so I'm almost done. I don't know, it's seeming more and more like there's gonna be no like big plot twist ending like there was with the last book, which I don't really know how to feel about that, but I don't know. I still have like 7 pages left, so maybe she pulls something. But it's seeming more of like a conclusion of like a series, so I don't really know what's gonna happen. Okay, so I was right. The book did end in like a happily ever after, which is like, it feels like, again, like a conclusion. So if there's a next book, I guess there's gonna be like another plot to it. I don't really know. I wasn't expecting this ending at all. I definitely thought it would be more like the House of Sky and Breath ending, where it ended with like an explosive plot twist, truth bomb, like finding out something that is totally shocking. And honestly, the stakes never felt like super high. Like, yeah, I was scared of things happening, but I knew that in the end everything would be okay. Like, even when Bryce died, it didn't feel permanent at all, and it wasn't, because like, and eventually she came back. And when she went into space and the black hole and everything, like, there was a little bit of tension there, but again, I had a feeling that everything would work out towards the end. So I don't really know how to feel about this book, honestly. As for a star rating, I will probably end up giving this book like 4.5, like 4.25 stars feels right to me in terms of this book. It's definitely my least favorite of the three, just in terms of plot and just like what happened. I feel like not a lot of actual plot happened. It was basically just building up to this war with the Asteri, which didn't even end up lasting that long, and it felt like the Asteri just honestly were defeated pretty quickly, which again, they were made out to be like these centuries and millennium, like as old as time, like god people almost, that have been traveling world to world and have been sucking people dry. But then Bryce and Hunt and everyone were able to defeat them in like not even that many pages. So it was just a little bit, I don't know, convenient, I guess is the right word, where they're just like everything was working out in their favor. They weren't ever like, I don't know, it's just a little bit disappointing, to be honest, how this book ended and how it went. But overall, I still really like the characters, and of course I liked that they had a happy ending, because obviously I want these characters to be happy and have good lives. But yeah, none of that, like the super major characters even like died or anything, and the only people that did die were like people that we didn't care about / were bad characters that we would want to die. Like, we weren't sad by their deaths. So again, I don't know. So yeah, 4.25 stars. My overall review is that it is a decently good book, but it was probably a little bit too long. I feel like a bit of it could have been cut out, because a lot of it's just them like trying to figure out how to defeat the Asteri. So it's just like a lot of researching, going through archives, which I feel like that part could have been cut down. And then the actual like building up to everything was like so intense, but then the actual like fight with the Asteri just did not feel high stakes at all to me. And I don't know if that was just me, but yeah, I think a 4.25 is like, feels good to me. Definitely not a 5-star read from Sarah J Maas, but I am very interested to know how ACOTAR will continue, because she's writing the next ACOTAR book, so the one after A Court of Silver Flames. So I'm interested to see if like any of this stuff is mentioned in that book in any way, and if what they talked about with Bryce giving her the Star Sword, if that's going to come up in any way in the next books. So I am very intrigued with the continuation of In the World. Also, there was like hints and nods to the Throne of Glass world, but nothing really ended up coming up with that. I don't know if anything's really going to happen with that in future books. I don't know what the future books are going to be. Is it going to be like the same plot? Is it going to be different plot, different characters, same character? I have no idea. But yeah, I will be looking forward obviously to the next book, as of course I look forward to every Sarah J Maas book that she puts out. But yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know down below if you read this book, and if you have, what are your thoughts on it? If you liked it, if you were disappointed, as of course I would love to know. I really want to know if other people were disappointed by this or not. But yeah, that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.